Hello and welcome to Encore, the arts and culture show here on False Nine Cat. I'm Jade Barker. Coming up, from the iconic Aston Martin to an underwater Lotus and a jetpack, a new exhibition lets you spy on 50 years of James Bond's rides, from Dr. No to Skyfall. Plus, how does a museum celebrate its 80th birthday? Well, by displaying never-before-seen paintings of some of the most famous names of the Impressionist movement from private collections. We take you on a tour of Paris's Musée Marmottan's latest exhibition. And he starred in more than 130 films and played over 100 roles on stage. We tell you why Louis de Funès is widely considered France's favourite comedian, as an exhibition celebrating his life goes on display. But first, we're taking you on a high-speed chase through Bond history. For the first time ever, you can check out the rides of the iconic British spy as they go on display at the London Film Museum. There's snowmobiles, helicopters, and of course, plenty of luxury cars. The exhibition also features miniature models, action sequence boards, and props from the films. Racing driver Ben Collins was a stuntman on the movies and says while he has no regrets about the cars he destroyed, he never touched that big red button.
It's complete, dream come true, working on Bond films. I grew up watching them as a boy, had all the toy car, the corgis and things like this. I never dreamt that I'd end up driving the Corgi one. I got to drive the DB5 in Skyfall, so that was really cool, but I still didn't have the guts to press the button on the gear knob in case it actually worked the ejector seat. So I later found out it was attached to machine guns, which is even worse.
Well, from the master of spying to the princess of pop, Kylie Minogue has been making hits for over 25 years, including, of course, her song Confide in Me that was used as the theme tune for the Bond flick Casino Royale. Now, the sexy songstress is proving she's still got it at 45 years old. Her latest video clip, Sexercise, off her new album Kiss Me Once, was released, and Kylie was here in Paris to sign copies of that. The video clip for the song, which was co-written with fellow Australian Sia Furlow, has been described by her label as the hottest workout video ever. Let's take a look.
It's not just your body, gotta keep it up with me. My mind is fantasy, let me see you exercise. I wanna see you beat all your best times. And if you're lucky, I'ma teach you fast to turn you right. Exercise, come on baby, exercise, feel the burn. Exercise, let me see you take it down to the ground. Let me see you pick it up, let me see you bounce, 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 bounce.
Well, if you like what you see there's a whole website dedicated to the steamy song called sexercise.tv, so you can check that out. Well, next, the homeless rarely find themselves in the limelight, but amateur British photographer Lee Jeffries has made them the focus of his work. The 40-year-old, who's an accountant by day, has produced a haunting set of black and white portraits of people living on the streets of Europe and the US. He's currently exhibiting the images at the Yellow Corner Gallery here in Paris and held an auction of 8 of the photographs. All of the money raised, that's more than 20,000 euros, goes to a French homeless association. France 9 Cat's Leila Amar went along and asked the photographer how else people can help those who are often forgotten and ignored.
Homelessness affords a freedom that you and I don't have. But that doesn't mean we as society, because they've made a choice to be homeless, or they may have not made that choice to be homeless, doesn't mean you and I and society forget them. We still have a duty to love them. And if that's all we can do for them, love them, then we're doing something.
Next are some of the most famous names of the Impressionist movement, Monet, Pissarro and Renoir. You've no doubt seen some of their iconic works before, but now you have the chance to check out some of their lesser-known paintings from private collections rarely shown to the public. It's part of Paris's Musée Marmottan's 80th birthday celebrations, as Kedavan Gorjestani explains.
For its 80th birthday, the Musée Marmottan is staging a very special exhibition. Impressionist masterpieces from Pissarro, Monet, or Renoir are on display, but not their most famous pieces. These are works from private collections that have either never been displayed or very rarely been shown to the public.
This is a rare exhibition. We never have the opportunity to see these paintings that belong to private collectors. Even if you've gone to all the exhibitions, you never see these.
Among the pieces, dozens of paintings and this sculpture, Edgar Degas' Little Dancer, aged 14. About 50 collectors from around the world contributed to the exhibition, a sign of the unwavering interest for the Impressionist movement.
It's a movement that is absolutely not outdated, and despite the skyrocketing prices of contemporary art, young people, young art lovers are still creating beautiful collections.
Some of the paintings were only known through their black and white pictures and inventories. Claude Monet's Sur les planches de Trouville, painted in 1870, was kept away from the public for over 100 years. The museum's selection retraces the entire history of Impressionism. The exhibition opens with the movement's early days, with landscapes by Corot, Jonkind, and Boudin. Then come the 1870s, with a dozen paintings from Monet, Pissarro, and their peers. Artists that focused on capturing light.
The specificity of this movement and what shocked academic painters of the time is that they got rid of all the details because they wanted to capture the light. And light effect only lasts for a few seconds.
Impressionists innovated by shifting the focus from the subject to the surroundings. Through small, thin, yet visible brushstrokes, artists gave an accurate depiction of light and its changing qualities, a way to accentuate the effects of the passage of time.
With just a few strokes, they create amazing movement, impressions and feelings. In some paintings, you can almost hear the noise that could come from the scene. All that comes from a soft range of elements.
There is a certain sensitivity in the choice of colors. You can see the difference between Berthe Morisot, who has thicker brush strokes, and others like Pissarro, who use thinner strokes.
The exhibition closes with the work of those who explored the boundaries of Impressionism, paving the way for future artistic revolutions.
Well, speaking about great art that's been kept out of the public eye, French police say they've recovered a stolen Rembrandt painting worth millions of euros. The Dutch master's Child with a Soap Bubble was stolen from a museum in the city of Draguignan in 1999. According to French media reports, 2 men were arrested in nearby Nice while trying to resell the artwork. Well, moving on now from artistic greats to one of the giants of French comedy, Louis de Funès starred in more than 130 films and played over 100 roles on stage. Widely considered France's favourite actor, the highly animated comedian never managed the same level of fame in the English-speaking world. If you're not familiar with his work, now's your chance. An exhibition celebrating his life is currently on here in Paris on the 100th anniversary of his birth. Elena Casas shows us around.
Louis de Funès was one of the best-known names in French comedy throughout the 60s and 70s, and this new exhibition has been put together by one of his biggest fans. Marie Ravel grew up with the comedian's work.
My parents are watching Cabbage Soup on TV, and I sat down in front of the screen. And they say I didn't look away from the TV for a second. I was hooked.
De Funès made over 140 films. The most popular was The Great Stroll in 1966. It sold 17 million cinema tickets. He was 50 before he became successful, but his string of box office hits would be worth waiting for.
I find him very funny. He de-stresses me.
Everything's in his gestures, his dialogue, so I think it still works 20 or 30 years later.
Do children like it?
Yes, lots. I love it.
De Funès played the piano from the age of 5. He was also a star all over Europe. In Germany, The Policeman and the Aliens beat all box office records in 1979, while the following year, The Miser was a hit in the then Czechoslovakia.
People there prefer his Czech voice to the French.
He also released records reading children's stories with all the voices. De Funès died in 1983. At the height of his fame in the 60s and 70s, 270 million people saw his films.
Well, finally, there's just enough time to tell you about an exhibition of a different kind. This one doesn't take place in a gallery or studio, but is as natural as they come. Each year, thousands of people from around the world flock to Kuffenhof Park in Holland, home to the world's largest flower garden. We're going to leave you now with some images of the beautiful blooms. Don't forget, you can get more news on our social networks and on Twitter at Encore F24. Enjoy and see you for more culture soon.